we are now recording for the YouTubes. Isn't it great? Yeah, okay, good. So look, today's class is, we're gonna have a jam-packed class here, ladies and gents. The reason I'm recording it is because there's some DBQ stuff, but we're actually gonna get into some other stuff as well, finally, right? So let me give you a quick preview of the week. Today is gonna be about doing the Unit 6 preview, because we're actually gonna move on finally into Unit 6, which we will abbreviate for the purpose of the test that is coming up. I'll go on record right now. Your test for Unit 5 and 6 is next week, Friday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, here's the deal. I will not make this as long of a test, nor as hard of a test, because the last time you were going through Unit 5 stuff was almost 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And we haven't even started Unit 6. But the Unit 6 stuff is relatively okay. You know, it's no big deal. You guys don't have to log on if you don't want to. If you want to participate in the chat, yeah, obviously. Gotcha. Okay, so with that being said, today I'm going to expose you to Unit 6. I'm going to go over the assignment that is due on Friday. Okay, so remember that there is an assignment due on Friday, not a DBQ type assignment, but an actual history assignment. Yeah. All right. We'll then review a little bit of your contextualization, because you guys did do the contextualization. So if anybody wants to review their contextualizations, we could do that. And then finally, I'm going to show you a way to get a little bit of extra points, okay, in the class. Okay, it's called the Dbq Points Game, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But everybody with me so far? All righty, getting a few people. All right, there we go. We got a lot of people saying yes to that one. All right, so first things first, let's talk Unit 6. And I'm going to start sharing my screen in order to do so. Make sure it's on the right thing. There it is, Unit 6, ready to go. Oh, wait, where'd my chat go? Somebody ask a question. Yeah, it'll be all of Unit 5 and all of Unit 6. However, I will be only picking and choosing information from Unit 6 that is actually going to be at least gone over with the assignments that I'm assigning. Okay, so it will be stuff that you're exposed to. It won't be something that you have little, like, nothing to do with, okay? Okay, so Unit 6 is all about the consequences of industrialization. It's basically, Unit 6 is kind of like dealing with the fallout of industrialization. So what changed in society? What stayed the same? What happened to the conquerors, the conquerors? Now remember, these industrialized societies, they needed more and more raw materials. So who do you think they got it from? Enter neo-imperialism, aka new imperialism. So imperialism is a huge part of Unit 6, whether that's talking about imperialism in India, East Asia, China, or Africa. It is all for some of the same reasons. And it's not gold, glory, and God like it was in the previous unit. New imperialism changed a little bit, and you'll see those differences in some notes that I'm going to give you guys. Another thing about this unit is that it does rearrange the world because of new inventions and new technologies. Transportation changes, which means migration changes. So you get to see a big difference in what countries are made of. You see huge changes in the United States in particular, especially with migrants from Europe, immigration. Okay. There are others throughout the world that we'll be discussing. So as usual, you guys can see the unit guides and snapshots. Let's just take a quick foray into some of the topics that are in Unit 6. Kind of just discussed them very briefly. But in Unit 6, you have, you know, imperialism is huge and the rationales behind it, because you do see a change from, gold, glory, and God to things like, social Darwinism and, economic imperialism, which is huge. You'll see the expansion of certain states and governments, and you'll see the responses to that. And you'll see a lot to do with migration, people, families changing as the world changed. Go back to here. Here are the assignments, ladies and gents, because you only have about a week and a half on this unit. It is imperative that you do the assigned readings. Remember, the Ways the World textbook is on your, that's on your Canvas page, but the modern AMSCO book, 6.1 to 6.8, that's all the most important information right there. And you can get it right here, divided either by unit or subunits. Don't forget about your reading guides. Old versus new imperialism. This is what I talked about before. Here's one of the assignments. However, guess what? It's no longer an assignment. I am giving you these notes because of the time frame. You get them. You don't have to do them. You get them. All right. No doing notes. No, nothing. You get it. All right. There he is. All right. So you have that assignment given to you. Imperialism in China, imperialism in India. They are not required for this year. Look, it says it right there. However, this one we'll come back to, Crash Course Imperialism. This is an assignment that'll be due by the end of this week. It is not hard. Okay, not hard. Here are the links for that video. I'll explain that in a moment. This is the assignment for next week, examining global migrations. That's not due until, again, next week. I do believe Wednesday. And again, not a hard assignment really to complete, because you will have the ability to work with somebody on this. All right, let me make sure I say that again. Examining global migrations. Yeah, guess what? It even tells you which PowerPoint to use. All right, but we'll get to it next week with that one. If you notice, top 10 assignment, not assigned for this unit. Okay, so you're not going to have to do that for this upcoming test. I thought there was too many assignments for just for unit 6 while we were still going through the DBQ stuff, so I had to cut one. This was the cut. All right. And finally, you guys know my units. They always have the PowerPoints, links, topics, video links, all that good stuff is all right there. Okay. And of course, memes. Because memes. So that's the Unit 6 preview. Again, this is all about the consequences of industrialization. Let's go to the assignment that's due at the end of the week, and that's here, right here, Crash Course Imperialism. We'll pop it out right here. New window. I had to find a way to make sure that you are exposed to as much information as possible in about a week and a half without it being too hard, because you're still going to be working on DBQ stuff. Okay, that's going to be during class. This one is purely for homework. What you're going to do, there are 3 crash course videos that go along with this assignment. Okay, and all of them are linked on the main web page. Okay, so first is world imperialism. Basically, what is going on in the world with imperialism. It goes over both Chinese imperialism and African imperialism. Okay, that link, look at this, because your teacher's so awesome. Look at that. There's the video. Click on the video, watch the video, and complete the questions. All right, now you can, listen, they're all crash courses. So all these are crash course videos.
Today we're going to discuss 19th century.
All right, look at that. Always awesome. Thank you, Mr. Mathos, for providing us with the links. We don't have to look for it at all. Dang, I'm good. You got the first, world imperialism. Answer the questions. Now, you can do this in a variety of ways. Let me just remind you of this. You can download this. In other words, download the paper to your desktop and type into it. You could bring it into Google Docs, type into it that way. If you're more of a physical, you want to write it out, sure, download it, print it, and write it. All right, no worries. I don't care how you turn this into me as long as you turn it in. Second video, American imperialism. Hey, looky here. American imperialism. Third video, Asian responses to imperialism. Asian responses to imperialism. 3 videos, 3 sets of questions. One last thing. This is probably the important part of there's the important part, the more important part. Let's just say it like that. Okay, because this is going to see if you did your reading. These boxes can be filled in by watching the videos, of course, but also if you did your actual assigned reading. Okay, so you may want to start looking into those modern AMSCO books and doing a little bit of reading. That's going to help you with this. What you'll do is you'll look at China and you'll see the things that changed after the Western imperialists came in and what things stayed the same. And you do the same thing with the Ottomans, changes, continuities, India, changes, continuities, Japan, changes and continuities after Western imperialism. All right, that's the whole assignment. 3 videos, sets of questions, and a small chart. Very small. Teeny tiny. So, do I have any questions on the assignment? Anything on where things are located? Anything you guys can think about? Well, the chat is saying nothing. People in my class are nodding their heads. Okay. One person in the chat. Okay, no questions, y'all, no questions. Okay, good. If you do think of any questions, you know what to do. Hit me up on Remind or email. Okay, so now that we're done with that, all right, we've gone through the Unit 6 preview. We have told you about your assignment that is due this Friday. The next thing we're going to do is, I'm guessing most people did the contextualization assignment. I got a pretty good amount of emails. So what I want to do is go to the contextualization assignment. Let's go back into DBQs. I know you guys are like this. You said no DBQ. No. A little bit of DBQ. A little bit. All right, so we have contextualization. Now, if you remember correctly, we did number 1 together. All right, we did number 1 together. So what I'll do is that I will go through and I'll do number 2. I'll tell you my thought processes. If you want to give your answer number 2, so I can provide you with some feedback, please do so. Okay, so you can put it in the chat. You could unmute and read it off your paper. I'm fine with that too. But I want to make sure that I give you a chance to get some feedback here. So while you guys are either typing or finding the assignment, I'll go to number 2. All right. So number 2 was using the documents provided. Evaluate the causes of the rise of nationalism throughout the world during the period 1750 to 1900. So remember, with contextualization, you want to take something and then expand upon it, and then finally link it in to the actual part of the essay. So I see that nationalism is basically it's kind of the content of this prompt. All right, so now I've got to look at things that happened before or just slightly before nationalism really took off. So then I started thinking like, all right, so there was definite changes. There was, switches from manpower to machine power. So I could approach this with the Industrial Revolution, maybe. I could approach this with, revolutions, or maybe even with, anything to do with all that I was good with. I eventually ended up using kind of both in a way. So what I did, and I'll read it off and I'll zoom in real quick so you can see. The mid-late 18th century marked a time of monumental change in human society, as the world moved away from an agricultural economy towards an industrial one. There's my mention of the Industrial Revolution in a way. This is kind of happening at the same time. Additionally, societies around the world experienced revolution. That's where I'm saying like, hey, these kind of things were happening right around the same time as a prompt, but it's still a little before. America, France, Haiti, and Latin America. And new and important nation state arose, Germany and Italy, those unifications. Going along with enormous historical developments was a rapid increase in strong feelings of national support that these industrializing, revolutionizing, and modernizing societies invoked in each of their societies. So that last one was kind of trying to say like, hey, people are going to support their country, support these movements, no matter what. So that was my contextualization for number 2. Now you could have went, anywhere you wanted with it. So if you guys want to wait, I'm going to wait about a minute or two and just see if anybody puts it in the chat, or if you want to unmute, you could say yours out loud as well. Whew, there we go. Question. I like it, and I think there's enough detail there to hang your hat on too. I would give the point for that contextualization. Nice job. Mm. So, Rihanna, I like yours. I would like one more little bit of detail there to really drive it home. Like, Rihanna, like if you could sit there, like, yeah, exactly, like unification in Germany and in Italy and Germany, like, Rihanna, an easy way for you to do this was if you just expanded for one little bit. Like if you would have said something about like the Declaration of Independence, laying out, those American concepts, that would make that connection with nationalism and allowed you just a little more detail. If you just said anything specific about those revolutions. Because the difference between like yours and Sebastian is very minimal, but it's just the fact that he mentions, the House of Savoy in those fractured states. That is enough of the detail that they're kind of looking for there. Does that make sense? Yeah, a little bit. You can't be too broad. It needs to mention some specificity that can be expanded upon. Okay, so yeah, you got it. Just that little bit extra would have been there. Let me check Alyssa's now. Yes, Alyssa. A big hearty yes, yes, yes. Great job with that one. All right, that definitely does it. You have enough detail. You got it. You got it. Nice job. And I'm sorry for people. I completely did not read any of them out loud to anybody. So let me just read off Alyssa's real quick because it was the last one I just mentioned. In the Age of Enlightenment, from early to late 18th century, new perceptions and ways of thinking were developed. Enlightenment thinkers such as John Locke eventually proposed natural rights and repented the divine right of kings and and through gaining supporters, it gave people the desire to change, start rebellions and independence movements. A little awkward on the sentence structure there, but you got it. These independence movements and revolutions, such as the French Revolution, inspired people to take pride in their country, therefore promoting the spread of nationalism. And then she could go into her thesis directly after that. I think she does well there. Okay. Does anyone want me to do number 3 or no? You guys want me to go do number 3, show you the example of number 3, take some more from you guys? I'll wait for one of you guys to say yes or no on number 3. Oh, okay. All right. We got a few there. All right. So number 3. This one was evaluate the extent to which Christianity changed societies in Latin America during the period 1500 to 1800. Okay. You guys can still see this on your screens, right? Okay. So then, when I was doing this, I started thinking about, because it says Christian societies, my mind kind of wandered into the Crusades a little bit because it's kind of around then that the Crusades were kind of dying out. And maybe not dying out per se, but definitely not as strong as it was in the beginning. But it also was the time period that, you know, every country started reaching out, especially European countries and saying, mine. So because this was about Latin America, I know that Spain was going to be my focus here because I thought it was just going to be easiest to connect. Because Spain and Portugal were the ones that kind of took over most of Central and South America. Okay, so that's my thought process. I just wanted to explain that to you guys as you're reading this. So my actual contextualization here is drawing from the crusading zeal present in Spain's Reconquista period. The settlement of the New World by Spain was accompanied by often violent Spanish missionaries carrying Christianity on the point of the sword. In other words, kind of spreading it through violent means. These conquistadors sought to spread Christianity to indigenous Latin American societies who had previously held to animist local beliefs in common with societies like the Aztecs and Inca. Though much of these beliefs did eventually catch on in these societies, devastated by the arrival of new diseases, smallpox and other unfamiliar diseases, there was a range of how much these Christian beliefs local societies adopted. So there's where, again, now, if you guys want to take a look, put yours in there. Yeah, Sebastian, you added just enough to get the point the first time, but like, if you can add in more, it's always a good thing. Like, it was kind of like how Heimler said it. Throw in some vocabulary words, explain the vocabulary words and how they help to, bring everything in. But again, this is not like super duper detail. I don't get super detailed to it. I kind of talk about, Spain taking over the New World, spreading Christianity through, violence. I just made it sound good. And then I talk about some of the certain like animist beliefs in in the Aztecs and Inca. That's probably the most detailed part of it. And then the detail with the diseases is good. So that. All right. Come on, let me check yours out. Okay, come on. I like the first sentence, and then something on there falls off the rails. Like, listen to what it says out loud. The Spanish easily conquered due to diseases such as smallpox, which made it easier to spread Christianity, being one of the motives of exploration. It seems like that should be like two different sentences. Like the Spanish easily conquered indigenous societies due to diseases, period. You know what I mean? Like smallpox and things like that. And then talk about the exploration of Christianity. It seems like you kind of like tried to add a little too much into one sentence and it ended up being a little confusing. Does that make sense, Kimura? Okay, and the next part of it where it says to, Latin societies were forced to learn and adopt the ways of Christianity as a result. That's something you would kind of say, at the end right there. And I kind of like that because it starts to tie in Christianity and societies. You just needed a little more detail in the middle parts and just maybe separate those 2 or 3 sentences out and flesh them out a little more, add a little more detail. So Sebastian, you're a perfect example. And guys, if you could read Sebastian's real quick. Before Christianity came to Latin America, the natives would be able to practice their religion freely. They could practice religions with monotheism, polytheism, and all the way to animism. With Christians coming, their religious zeal coming, this would forever change. This is an example of exactly what the College Board kind of warns you against. Let me see if this is the Dbq rubric. Okay, good. This is the rubric. You see it on your screen still, right? Okay. Yep. So Sebastian, this is for you right here because your last one flirted with this line too. That sentence is the big part. But the next part of the sentence is where the money is at. So look at what it says. It must relate to broader historical events during the time frame in question. You do that. However, what you also do is this. You kind of just reference it. You kind of put a phrase in there and you reference, they could practice whatever they wanted to, and then it would have always change. So they're not going to give you the point for what you did for number 3 because they would consider what you wrote there merely a phrase or reference. Make sense? No. It's not. It's not messed up. It's just he needs that. Remember, this is like. Can you imagine if Avatar? Remember the Avatar opening we watched last class, and it said, it had all these things, and the Fire Nation attacked, and all that stuff. Well, picture the opening to Avatar, guys, without them mentioning all the elements. Yeah, what if they never mentioned the elements and then they go straight into, oh, the Fire Nation attacked? It's like, well, what are the other nations? What are the other nations here? Why is the Avatar so important to control all of them? I don't even know what he can control. It's like you're getting an incomplete picture, which is why they want you to give you like detail and expand upon that detail, kind of bring you into that world. You know, or it's like I guess somebody said last class, I forgot if it was this one, like it would be like if your show Vampire Diaries or like really like complicated shows didn't have like recaps. Those recaps before the episodes are so important, right? You're like, oh, I didn't see this about a month ago. Oh, that's right, she did die, or you know, this person's with this person now. Those recaps are really kind of useful to contextualize what's going to happen in the upcoming episode. Yeah, comics do the same thing. Previously on, you know, stuff like that. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Is everybody kind of still on the same page here? You kind of understand why Sebastian's does not get the point. All right, perfect. I just want to make sure you guys understood that, because man, they really can pick you apart sometimes. Okay, so now that we've done that and we kind of went over a few of the contextualizations, can I show you guys how to get some extra points for my class? All right. So generally, I do this in my class, and it really does help to show students how a DBQ essay kind of looks like in a way. But because of the limiting means that we're experiencing right now, you know, COVID and all this stuff, I was able to digitize it and put it online. Um, but it's been so hit or miss with like group work that I didn't want to like have people end up with bad groups. So I decided to make this extra points, and that you could work with whoever you want on this. Okay, straight up, work with whoever you want. So follow me here, guys. You're gonna need to go on your computer and follow me so I can show you how to get there and how I want you to do the assignment. So you're gonna go to my writing part of my website. Yay! You've been here a lot, I know. All right, you're gonna come down to the DBQ part. There is a file called the Dbq Points Game. I'm gonna give you a minute. Please get here, click on it, and once you have clicked on the Dbq Points Game, I want you to then download it. Okay? If you can't download it, copy and paste it into a new document, maybe. Okay, create a Word document on your computer if you want to, or somewhere else, or on a Google Drive doc, or whatever you got to use. Okay, but make sure it's something that you can highlight it. All right, so follow me here. For those that you want to download it, click this little arrow. Yay, downloads. Oops, close that. Oh, wait. All right, we have the Dbq Points Game. Just make sure you enable editing, and now you have the Dbq Points Game on your. So that's one way you can do it. Or, I don't mind if you do this either, just copy and paste the entire document. Okay, just boom, copy and paste the entire document onto a new Word document or a new Google Drive. I don't know, what is it called? Is it Google Docs? I think it's called Google Docs. You can copy and paste it onto there. I'm gonna give you guys a minute to do that. Again, it's called the Dbq Points Game. It'll open up this. I want you to download it or copy and paste it into a Word. You don't get to see the answers yet. No! No! That stayed up way too long. That sucked. What the heck, man? Great. I'm gonna be under one of those teacher fails like videos because now this is going up on YouTube's. You didn't see anything. I don't believe you, Bolton. I don't believe you at all. There's gonna be some sort of teacher fail things at the end of this year. I'll be on it. That's okay. It's okay. I'll go full Darth Mathos and find you. You guys ready to go yet? How's everybody doing? Do you have it open on a Word document? All right, so we should have it open. Darth Mathos goes away. Okay, so we have this open. I want you to go to the second page. I'm going to explain this to you. First of all, here's the prompt that these essays are going to work with. What we're going to be doing is you are going to be identifying different parts of a DBQ. Okay, you'll be identifying different parts of a DBQ and you'll be highlighting them on your Word documents or using my document, obviously. Okay. The prompt is evaluate the extent to which the experience of the First World War changed relationships between colonized peoples. Okay. Now, I don't want you guys to get confused. When it says the 3-point essay, it's referring to this essay has scored 3 points on the Dbq rubric. Let's examine these 3 points. This document, this essay right here. Oh, geez, I did. Thank you. This essay gets the point for thesis. This essay gets the point for using 3 documents that relate to the prompt. And it gets the second point for documents and evidence because it uses 6 documents to support an argument. 1, 2, 3. Let's show you on here. Here's the history rubric. So that gets the point for thesis, gets the first point for evidence. It also gets the second point for evidence. Does everybody follow me so far? You see why this is a 3-point essay. Do we see why this is a 3-point essay? Only one person sees it. 2 people see it.
Yeah.
3 people see it. Okay, I just want to make sure because, so this is the 3-point essay. We're going to be doing this one together. However, there's also the 5-point essay, which has the thesis, 3 documents that address it, 6 documents total to support. But in addition to this, it also has contextualization and outside evidence. So you'll get the points for those as well. And then the final DBQ is a full and complete 7-point essay. And that's going to have everything we talked about before, plus the analysis and reasoning, that's the HIP, and then the complexity point as well. The way you guys are going to get the extra credit, okay, is we're going to do this one together. So we get it, you get to see it. You guys are going to do the 5-point document and the 7-point document. If you turn this into me by Friday, okay, you'll get some extra points. This is not required. Let me repeat. Paying attention right now is required so you can see what the biggest lesson part of today is. But if you don't want to do this, say you've got too much work, Don't overload yourself, okay? But if you want to see if you can get a little bit of extra points for my class, you'll do what we do to this 3-point essay, to the 5 and 7-point essays. All right? So everybody understands that it is extra points and this is not required. Correct, everybody? They get it, they get it. All right, everybody gets it. But now is the important part, because you're going to get to see a full DBQ for your first time, and I'll show you how to identify the parts. Let's do it. For all of you that are following along at home and already have this in a Google Doc or Word, I want you to highlight the thesis in yellow. Okay? And for everybody that's paying attention and looking at my screen, if you guys could please tell me where the thesis is. We're going to do this together. But when you're at home and you're going to turn this into me, I want all the theses highlighted in yellow. Okay, we have a first answer here. Bolton is saying it in the chat too.
Mr. Mathis, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How'd you get it on the Word document like that?
I downloaded it. So here is the Dbq Points Game. This arrow right here will download the file to your computer. Okay?
It keeps coming up as a PDF for me.
That is odd. You may not have Word installed. Do you have Microsoft Word installed on your computer?
Never mind, I got it.
Gotcha. Okay. So everybody is telling me it looks like it's the first paragraph right here. Here is a thesis. You guys are correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it and put it in yellow. There's our thesis. Nice job to start off with, guys. All right, the thesis is the experiences of World War I drastically changed the relationship between Europeans and colonized peoples because it solidified a growing hatred for Europeans and planted the seeds of nationalism and independence within the colonized peoples. Good thesis right there. Now, the other things that are in this essay, we have the documents. What I want you guys to do is to direct me. And I'm going to highlight all of the documents in blue. Some changes to blue. All right. Which sentences? Okay, let's start off. We're trying to find the first document here and how it's used. Remember, they're not just describing the document, you know, they're trying to say how it relates to the argument. You think this first sentence and second sentence? Okay, well, engineering thinks this is the first document being used, but guess what? We have our first mistake. This first sentence is actually not a part of the document being used. Like, see what it says? It says, this is actually the first document. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. You're going to find out what these are, and you're going to be like, oh my God, that's what that is? Actually, no, let's just talk about it now since engineering brought it up. Do you guys remember your English teachers teaching you about something called topic sentences? Oh, yeah. Well, guess what, guys? Topic sentences make a big comeback with AP World. Okay? Topic sentences, they love them. L-O-V-E. They love them. Okay? Why? Well, it's exactly why your English teacher loved them too. It tells you exactly what's going to be talked about or argued about in that paragraph. Now, if you read this sentence, you're like, while colonized peoples felt animosity towards Europeans before the war, experiences during the war definitely made the relationship worse. That means this entire paragraph is going to be about the relationship worsening between the Europeans and the colonized peoples. A DBQ is an essay. You have an hour and a half, technically, to do a DBQ and an LEQ. So rule of thumb is you want to kind of think about doing a DBQ in 60 minutes and the LEQ in 30 minutes. Now, let's keep going with the documents. We're going to, you know what, actually? No, let's not. Let's continue on topic sentences. I want you guys to highlight topic sentences in gray. I know some of you guys are like, well, why gray? Well, because most of the other colors kind of wash out everything. You can't see what it actually says. So that's a topic sentence. Let's go on. Let's keep finding documents. Where are some more sentences that contain documents? Now, not just saying, you know, according to, think about it like this. What is it? Does it describe the document? Does it tell you how the document is being used to support the argument? So where are some more documents, guys?
Is it the part where it says he even states? Or where it starts, for example?
I actually think it starts, for example, because this is what's in the document. This is part of the document. So I actually think you're correct. And the next one goes to about right here, huh? Keep it going, guys. Let's see, who else is going to give an answer? We got engineering, we got Caleb. Who else is going to give an answer on this? Yes, Bolton, you are correct. The next sentence is also a document. There you go, Sebastian. Last one's a document as well. You got to look at it and be like, does this describe what's in the document? And how does it help answer the question? So good. We have our first paragraph done. This is not too hard, right? Yeah, well, you see that? Engineering was like, this is not hard. You just look for the doc to see where it is. This is why I want you to use parenthetical citation. Look how easy it is for you to find the documents. Now think about the AP readers. The AP readers are looking at essay after essay after essay. If you put parenthetical citation, your essay becomes easy to read. Make sense now? Dang, I'm a good teacher. All right, let's do some more highlighting. Let's go to the second paragraph. Second paragraph, what do we see? All right, Sebastian and engineer, first sentence, they are already correctly identifying. Here's a topic sentence. There you go. That's right, Kimura. All right, let's keep going now. Do we see any more documents?
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Next sentence. All the way down to here, or all the way to doc 5? So all of this is about document 5. That entire thing is all about document 5. Okay. Keep it going. I'm letting you guys guide this now. You think the entire sentence after it? Now, wait a second. Are you saying that document 5 was used twice? Wait a second. You sure? Doc 5. Doc 5. Uh-oh. Can they do that? Because a document can be argued using different parts of it, right? Like if this part of the document supports this argument, that's great. It could also support this one. You can do that. You can use a document more than once. And the next one is also, yeah. Oh, no, that's right. This is not one. All the way down. Yeah, he is concerned that Indian youths have adopted this ideal from the British and are committing acts of violence. So he's still talking about this. There you go, Sebastian. Nice job. Okay. So now this is all you had to do for document 3, because you can see, let's use another tool real quick. Let me no color. Here we go. Doc 1, Doc 4, Doc 5, Doc 6. That's 4 different documents. Doc 7, Doc 2. And this all relates to the argument and uses it to support an argument. Now, some of you guys are like, but how do they support an argument? This is where you see things like this. He is concerned that Indian youths have adopted this idea. That's support. But it also goes back to your topic sentences. Let me show you why the theses and the topic sentences are related, and the stronger your thesis, the easier your paper is to write. Check this out. Just turn that off. We already identified that this is a topic sentence, right, y'all? That's a topic sentence. You read this and it tells you about what's going to happen in this paragraph. Y'all with me right now, right? Because this is an important part of like outlining of an actual DBQ here. So now that you see that, and now that people in the chat, you've seen it, all this topic sentence is an extension of your thesis. I want you guys to read the thesis again and look at how the main argument of the thesis is supported by the evidence. The evidence becomes your first topic sentences. I'm going to change some colors on you guys, okay? So some of you guys are reading the thesis and you're like, but what do you mean? Check this out. Here, let me unhighlight everything, okay? Follow me here. I'm going to unhighlight the topic sentences just for now. Here is the main argument. Right? The experiences of World War I drastically changed the relationship between Europeans and colonized peoples. Boom, there's your argument. Because, and here's where you're looking at your documents. What do your documents say? In this case, we've correctly identified there are 2 groups because there's 2 body paragraphs. Here's our first pieces of evidence. Our documents are showing us this. And look at what our first topic sentence is. You can see the connection. That first piece of the argument, the first support for the argument, is now echoed into our first topic sentence. And it connects the 2. So a strong thesis gives you the categories, in a way, our arguments, to set up our topic sentences. And you can see it stays that way. Let's highlight this one in gray. And this one, the next one is planted the seeds of nationalism and independence within colonized people. You guys see the relations between your thesis and those topic sentences? You guys, it's like, as long as your thesis is good and you correctly make, you make these groups of documents, you group these documents together, the essay kind of writes itself, because once you got your thesis, you're like, okay, well, my first paragraph is going to be about this. What documents support that? And you go through and you start doing your documents. And you're writing your documents. Oh, we're on our second paragraph. Here's my topic sentence. You rephrase that second part. And then where are the documents that support that? This is how easy it is to get a 3. 7. But remember, the 7 is like, she asked what the highest one was. 7, but like, remember that complexity point, maybe only 2.5% of the essays get that. So don't worry about that one as much.
So we could do this by highlighting the thesis and stuff for extra credit?
Exactly. So for this particular assignment, let me change some things back, okay? Because you need your thesis to be in all yellow. And I want the topic sentences to be in gray. There you go. We did the 3-point essay. What you guys are going to do, you are going to do this for the 5-point essay and the 7-point essay. So keep track of this, guys, because I'm recording this, but just in case you want to write this down. Thesis, you're going to highlight in yellow. You're going to highlight your documents and their usage in blue. You're then going to highlight the topic sentences in gray.
Wait. Pause for a second, please.
Okay. Once again, thesis yellow, blue documents, gray topic sentences. And then as you get down, things are going to get added in here. You see contextualization outside evidence? Do not highlight outside evidence. Let me say it again. Do not highlight outside evidence. If you need to see what outside evidence is, once again, just go to the rubric. That's evidence beyond the documents, but you don't know what documents are there, so you can't really highlight it. So do not highlight outside evidence, because you don't know what is in the documents and what's not.
Wait, what color do we highlight the contextualization?
I'll tell you in a second. I haven't even said that yet. For contextualization, though, I want you to highlight that in pink. All right, you can see all the tools are right here. Generally, the easiest ones to read are the yellow, green, blue, pink, and gray. If you try to highlight things in like different colors, you can see it gets really hard to read. That's why I use generally pink. It's a little easier with pink. Not the easiest, but still easier than blue. So you'll highlight contextualization in pink. And then when you go to the 7-point document or 7-point DBQ, it's going to add in complexity, which let's just take that off the menu right now. You do not need to highlight complexity. You do not need to highlight complexity. What? Yeah, you don't need to highlight outside evidence or complexity. Okay. And then finally, you will highlight the HIP part of things. The HIP, the document analysis that we did, historical evidence, purpose, point of view. You'll highlight that in green. So when you see a HIP thing, like either historical purpose, intended audience, purpose, point of view, you'll highlight that part in green. Generally, a tip for that is it's after when it uses a document. So it'll be like, document 5 says da 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 da, and this shows, that's the support. This shows why the tribe supported this leader. The next part about that, the tribal leader who wrote this would probably be considered a, his audience would have changed. That's where you would go in and highlight the green HIP analysis. All right, Emmanuel, let me check the question. But how do we know if we accidentally highlight outside evidence if we don't know what's in the document? It's okay. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't highlight outside evidence. As long as I see that you're trying to highlight the documents, that's fine.
So so you highlight that one green, right?
Yes. So I'll go over it one more time. Highlight thesis in yellow, documents in blue, contextualization in pink, analysis green, and topic sentences gray. And again, this is not required. So if you do it though, that's great. Like a little bit of extra points ain't gonna hurt nobody. But don't not do, like, the assignment for Friday is worth much more points than this is. Like, so if you have to choose between the two, do the regular assignment. Okay. On Thursday and Friday of this week, you guys will be doing our first DBQ. Okay. I'll show you the outline all over again. We'll probably review this very quickly. And then we're going to do our first DBQ that you'll be able to finish outside of class for homework to turn in. Okay. That's our class for today. So let me stop the recording.